you didn't do such a good job. Maybe you can consider XYZ. The task you did earlier could be improved, and here's why. Have you gotten feedback and instantly felt like you were just a piece of crap? That's something that I'm struggling with on a regular basis. And when I look deep into why I feel this way, I realize that I have a self-esteem problem. We cannot control what other people say, we cannot control what other people do, but the thoughts, the voice inside our heads are with us 24/7. I found myself constantly berating myself and criticizing myself. When I looked deeper, I started asking myself why. Why did I feel that I wasn't good enough? And why did I feel that someone's constructive criticism was an attack on myself? If you are feeling this way, if you are given feedback and you don't feel quite comfortable, you're not alone. I really struggle with this because I realize that although I may portray myself as a very confident person, deep inside, I struggle a lot with accepting who I am. And I think that comes from a lot of different childhood memories that have stayed with me. A story that comes to mind is when I was a young child. I don't remember how old I was, but I recall having a fight with my sister. We probably got into a fight. I don't know the exact details anymore, but the memory still lives with me till this day. My mom was working and I decided to call her work. And at the time, cell phones were not a huge thing. So I called her work and I remember immediately when I rang her, she asked, "Is this insert sister's name?" I let her know that my sister was picking on me. I don't remember what she responded, but I don't think it was much of anything. When she got home, she did not address it. From that day forward, I did not reach out to my mom anymore. That's just a very simple story of how when we are a child and we're developing and we reach out for support or just to express ourselves, but we don't receive the type of response or even encouragement that we were maybe expecting. I don't think that I was expecting any favoritism. It kind of makes sense to me now that one thing that I struggle with is when things are not fair. As I mentioned earlier, I have a bit of a confidence issue, and what's really interesting, I remember telling someone this, I don't remember who that was anymore, but they had let me know that I seem very confident. And I think that we can put up a persona of who we are, but when we look deeper inside, that's when we see the cracks. As someone who's been working for over a decade in the workplace, I am able to mask a lot of my insecurities. I think that is a huge reason why I am such an overachiever. It is really trying to make up for that piece of me that I feel like is missing. But really, nothing will ever be good enough if I'm not accepting who I am. I hope that if you are struggling with similar things, if your confidence, if you feel like you're not enough, you're not alone. There are ways to get better. Work on your strengths and don't let that negative self-talk get you down. Here is a concrete example. Last year, I decided that I was going to run a marathon and I signed up with my friend. Right now, I've taken a break and I ran for the very first time this year a few days ago, and I just felt so good. I think when we set our mind to a goal and we achieve it, we just feel that confidence burst into us. I never knew that I would be able to run a marathon, but I did it. I will say that the journey towards training was so enjoyable, and I think once we do something that we didn't think we can do and we achieve it, that just brings so much confidence that you might not even know you have. If you want to build your confidence, work towards a goal, whether that is exercise, whether that is completing a certification, getting a job, completing a task, whatever that may be. Just go for it and you'll really build your confidence there. I think another way that I've been building my confidence is being more mindful of that self-talk. Like I mentioned earlier, we spend so much time in our heads, and if we continuously talk down on ourselves, that's not going to be good. So I've been really reflective, and in my last video, I mentioned that I've taken up guided meditation. It's been a huge improvement. I find myself less reactive. I find myself just being a little more zen, which I think we need in this crazy world, just to slow down and be with our thoughts and feelings. It is so easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle because there's so much going on. But when we are able to take a pause, that's really when we can acknowledge how we're talking to ourselves and work towards a positive and more uplifting inner monologue. I'm really working on this. It's not easy because I've been doing this for over 3 decades, and that inner voice is just not so nice. I like to remind myself, if I want to say that to a friend, when I say it to myself, it's not easy, but I think you can do it. Another way to build our confidence is really embracing the people around us, things we love, and this may sound cliche, but focus on what makes you happy and try to do that. If you're a working professional like myself, we don't have a lot of spare time, but what are you doing on the weekends? Are you being intentional? Are you constantly scrolling on your platforms and mindlessly viewing videos, or are you absorbing things that make you happy? For myself, I really like to be present with my dog, and our walks, our daily walks, are something I really look forward to, so I really prioritize that. So to build your self-confidence, I will say that you gotta do things you like to do. Do things that make you happy. As cliche as it sounds, it makes life really much more enjoyable. Do those things, prioritize yourself, prioritize your mental health, and just enjoy life. I think it's really easy to get lost in, let's improve ourselves, let's do this, but really, what are the things that make you happy, and do more of those things. It will really feel good. I'm obviously a novice in building confidence because I think that is partially one of the reasons why I struggle with recording videos. I think there is an inner monologue that is scared of people judging me. And I mentioned earlier about the criticism. And I think that when we take in criticism and kind of take it really personally, it's not about the other person, but about us. Because something could be very neutral and we're like, wow, they're attacking us. I currently struggle with my voice, and I am so afraid of people judging me that I overthink what I'm going to say, whether that is in social settings, whether that is recording a video. I struggle with thinking if someone is going to think that I'm silly, that someone's going to think that what I'm saying doesn't make sense, or if they're gonna think that I'm just not good enough. Realizing that, I will say that once you find your voice and able to understand what is your purpose and just really own that, I think that you'll find your voice. And as I record more videos and share on YouTube, I become more confident in sharing who I am and finding myself, my voice. I think that I've always had difficulty with that inner monologue when I speak up. So for example, I would see an injustice or something and I'll speak up, and then for maybe the next 10, 15, maybe 30 minutes, I'll have a conversation in my head about, oh my gosh, I hope I wasn't too mean or rude. And I'll give you an example. Several months ago, I ran the marathon. We actually came across several porta potties and I needed to go. And so I stopped. There were, I think, at least 2 or 3 people in front of me, and we had a line. When the porta potty opened, someone from the side actually jumped into the line and went, and we all looked at each other like, what is going on? And then it happened again where someone I saw was coming from the side, and I said, hey, they're next. And then that person, and I'm right after that person. And I was so proud of myself for speaking up, but I had so much anxiety speaking up because I was afraid of criticism. I was afraid of not feeling like that was justified, even though I knew it was. And I feel those anxious feelings in my hands where I struggled with, I knew that it was the right thing to do. And what's so interesting as I'm retelling this story is that I actually feel those emotions right now. I'm reading a book right now about how trauma works. The book is called The Body Remembers, and it's actually over there. It's about how our emotions are stored in our body. What I want to say is that sometimes when we speak up or when we don't speak up and we're scared, it is normal. And I hope that you find your voice, because I'm working towards doing that, where I'm able to share what is right or how I feel or what my thoughts are without that internal monologue judging myself and criticizing myself. It's really exhausting, I will tell you that. What's so funny is that I'm actually struggling to have words on how to close this video, and that might be the overthinking part of me speaking again, which is, wow, am I credible? Do I have the right things? I will say that, like anything in life, public speaking, communication is a skill. So I will encourage you that if you struggle with certain things, maybe it is cooking, maybe it is gardening, exercising, everything is a skill. I find myself a lot more comfortable now recording videos, but I definitely do still have times where I struggle, and you probably don't see a lot of it because editing is magical. I want to encourage you that, like most things in life, things are skills, like driving. When you drive more, you'll get better. When you do a certain sport, if you or work on a certain task, you'll get better at it. And I want to talk about this because I was struggling to end my video, and I think what happened was I started overthinking again about what I'm sharing and making sure that things are perfect. And I know nothing in life is perfect, so I think that's what makes us human. I do want to say that I appreciate you listening, and I hope this was helpful. If you made it this far, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Let me know if this resonates with you, if you are building your confidence as well, or you have any tips for me on how I can build my confidence. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thanks so much. Bye.